I welcome you all in this course of heat and mass transfer. This course uh, is in the sixth semester mechanical engineering department, and this course is one of the core courses of our mechanical engineering studies. Myself Abdul Ghani, and today we are going to start the first unit of our course. And in the first unit we will introduce you to the concept of heat transfer. So let us start. These are the prerequisite to fully understand this subject, and the prerequisites are that you should have the knowledge of engineering thermodynamics and you should have the knowledge of the concepts of fluid mechanics. And these are the learning objective of present lecture. And since this is an introductory lecture, so obviously you should be able to understand the modes of heat transfer. Uh, uh, you should be able to learn and write the basic equation of heat conduction, basic equation of heat transfer by convection, and you should be able to write the basic equation of heat transfer by radiation. So before starting the basic concepts of heat transfer, let us first understand how thermodynamics and the heat transfer are related. Okay, there are many times there are lots of confusion that what is the how when we have already studied the thermodynamics, then why we study heat transfer, and how thermodynamics and heat transfer are related. Okay, so the major differences between thermodynamics and heat transfer are that thermodynamics as a subject tells us how much heat is to be transferred. Okay, so from the thermodynamics we know that how much heat can be transferred from one body to another body, from one system to another system, or from one place to another place. Similarly, thermodynamics tells us that how much work is done during a process. Okay, so let us say that when a system is running, so from the thermodynamics we can calculate how much work that particular system can do, or how much work uh, we have to supply or to a particular system. For example, for example, if we want to calculate how much in the power plants we are concerned about the work output, while in a refrigeration plant we are concerned about how much work has to be supplied. Okay, so from the thermodynamics we can calculate how much heat is transferred, we can calculate how much work is done, and similarly what is the final state attained by the system. Okay, similar for example, if let us say one system is initially at a particular pressure and temperature, so at the end of any process or in any process, what will be the final state attained by the system. Okay, so this is what we know, what we can find out from the thermodynamics. But thermodynamics does not tell us how much uh, it tells us how much heat is transferred, but it does not tell that how the heat is transferred. I mean, what is the mode with which heat was transferred. Okay, so from the thermodynamics we can calculate the amount of heat that was transferred, and from the concepts of heat transfer we can find out the mode of heat transfer. Similarly, at what rate the heat was transferred. Okay, so we know that heat from the thermodynamics that some amount of heat was being transferred, but from the heat transfer, from the concepts of heat transfer, we will know that what is the rate of heat being transferred. Okay, similarly, thermodynamics tells us about the distribution of temperature inside the body. Okay, so in a way we can say that the thermodynamics and heat transfer are complementary to each other. And one more important thing about the thermodynamics and heat transfer is that the thermodynamics deals with the state of equilibrium, while the heat transfer deals with the heat of transition. Okay, that when there is no equilibrium, so the concepts of heat transfer are applicable to the state when there is no equilibrium, or you can say that heat transfer is related to the state of non-equilibrium. So uh, these are the modes through which heat can be transferred from one body to another body. Heat can be transferred by conduction, heat can be transferred by convection, and heat can be transferred by radiation. So these are the three modes of heat transfer through which heat can be transferred from one body to another body. So let us discuss these modes of heat transfer one by one. So let us discuss the first mode of heat transfer, that is conduction. So conduction is basically a mode of energy transfer across a system boundary due to a temperature difference. Okay, so if there is a temperature difference between you can say between temperature difference across the boundary of a system, then the conduction will take place. Okay, so the and how the conduction takes place? It takes place due to the intermolecular interactions, and conduction requires matter. Okay, and it doesn't require any kind of bulk motion of the matter. So conduction doesn't require any movement of the matter. Only through the interaction of the molecule, the energy due to the conduction or heat due to the conduction can be transferred from the one surface from the one surface to another surface. As we can see from this figure, that if let us say this is a solid slab of conductivity K, and it is maintained at a temperature T1 and temperature T2, where T1 is greater than T2, then heat transfer can be given by this equation, Qx equal to minus Kax dt over dx, where dt over dx represents the temperature gradient. Dt over dx is called the temperature gradient. And temperature gradient, here dt means the temperature difference. From this figure we can say that dt equal to T2 minus T1, and dx is the thickness of the slab, and K is a property of a solid. It is called the thermal conductivity, and Ax is the area of cross section through which heat transfer is taking place, and Qx is the amount of heat that has been transferred from between the two surfaces. Let us discuss the mechanism of conduction, that is how the heat is conducted uh, in the heat transfer due to conduction. Okay, so let us say in this figure, as in this figure 1, these are the molecules which are arranged in a you can say in a matter or in a solid. Okay, so molecules are arranged in such a in this way during the normal condition, but when we supply heat, what happens that most of the time molecules are in equilibrium with each other. But when we supply heat from the external source, what will happen? That the molecule which receive heat from the outside, they will start they will start vibrating and disturb. In doing so, they will disturb the equilibrium of the the equilibrium that has been maintained earlier. That equilibrium will be disturbed, and these molecules will start vibrating at a higher amplitude. Okay, so in the figure 2, as we can see that the molecules are now vibrating with a frequency other than the other molecules due to the external heat that has been supplied to them. Okay, so this is the hot side. Then what will happen because of the these molecules are vibrating with a higher frequency because they have got more energy. Okay, so what will happen due to the vibration, this vibrational energy of the molecule will be transferred to the nearby atoms. Okay, so what will happen due to the vibration of the molecules, some of the vibrational energy of this molecule will be transferred to the adjacent molecule. Okay, and in this way, similarly, the this since this has got more energy compared with the other molecules, so what will happen that some energy will be transferred to the adjacent molecule. So energy will be transferred from this molecule to this molecule, then the energies will be further transferred to this molecule to this molecule. In this way, what will happen that all the atoms will be start vibrating at a higher frequency. So what happens that, for example, in this figure 1, and this is a contemporary figure of for the figure 1, a hot particle, there is one hot particle will supply some energy to this cold particle. Okay, similarly, when this how this hot particle will transfer energy to a cold particle, because as soon as it has higher energy, it will it will vibrate with a higher amplitude, and in doing so, what will happen, it will collide to a colder particle. Okay, now as soon as this collides with a colder particle, what will happen, that two particles share the exchange some energy and reach to a state of equilibrium. Okay, and since it has higher energy, initially it has lower energy, so what will happen that this hot particle will give some energy to this cold particle, and now the both particle are in the state of equilibrium, but at a higher state of energy. Okay, so in this way, the energy heat transfer in the conduction takes place. After conduction, another mode of heat transfer is heat transfer due to the convection. So convection is a energy transfer across a system boundary due to a temperature difference by the combined mechanism of intermolecular interactions and bulk transport. So uh, convection takes place because of the intermolecular interaction, that is two molecules interacting with each other, but at the same times it requires bulk transport of material, means that that some matter will be transferred from one place to another place. Okay, so like for example, hot air is transferred from one place to another place, or there are numerous example of convection where due to the transfer of material from one place to another place, or movement of the material within its own container results in the transfer of heat. Okay, so convection, as we have discussed, that convection needs fluid matter. Okay, convection is not possible in the solid state, but convection, since bulk transport can happen only in the fluids and in the liquids and gases, so convection will take place in the fluids, like liquids or gases. So convection is given by this equation, which is also known as the Newton's law of cooling, and Newton's law of cooling is given by Q equal to HAS into delta T, where H is the heat transfer coefficient. H is known as the heat transfer coefficient. It is not a property of material, but it is found empirically for a combination of material. AS is the area of the surface through which heat is being transferred, and delta T is the temperature difference between the two surfaces. Okay, for example, as you can see in this figure, here in this figure, what is happening that there is a plate which is at a higher temperature. The temperature is Ts, and the atmospheric pressure is the atmospheric temperature is T infinity. Okay, and a fluid is moving over this plate. So what will happen that the moving fluid will take some heat from the hot surface. Hot surface is at a higher temperature, so what will happen that the some heat will be transferred to this moving plate and the moving fluid, and the moving fluid will move forward and the fluid coming from here will again take some heat, and that will again move forward. Okay, so in this way the convection due to the heat transfer due to the convection takes place. So heat transfer coefficient, as we have discussed, that it is not a property of a material, or you can say it is not a thermodynamic property of a material, but it depends upon the geometry of the surface, depending upon the what kind of surface, what is the surface roughness, etc. Similarly, it will depend upon the flow characteristic, whether the flow is laminar, whether the flow is turbulent. It will depend upon the type of flow or flow characteristics. Okay, so the thermodynamic property of you can say it is a thermodynamic other thermodynamic, it will also depend on the other thermodynamic properties of the fluids. Okay, so the unit of heat transfer coefficient is watt per meter per Kelvin. This is the unit. So convection can be broadly classified in as free or natural convection, and the other classification of the convection is forced convection or induced by external means. So free convection or natural convection is results of the buoyancy forces present in a fluid, while the forced convection requires some external means like blowing up a fan, or providing a pump by providing a pump, or forcing the fluid through over a surface by some other external means, that is called the forced convection. Okay, so convection may occur with phase change like boiling, like condensation. So all these phenomena like boiling and condensation are even though associated with phase change, but the heat transfer that has taken place during these phase change operation is achieved through convection. Okay, so we were discussing the value heat transfer coefficient H. Okay, so the heat transfer coefficient varies, as we have earlier discussed. It depends on many things, but there are some standard some values that can be utilized for the calculation of heat transfer through convection. So in case of free convection, the heat transfer coefficient will in case of free convection, if the gases are involved, so in that case the heat transfer coefficient may vary from 2 watt per meter per Kelvin to 25 watt per meter per Kelvin. Similarly, for the liquids, it may vary from 550 to 100 watt per meter square Kelvin. Similarly, when there is a forced convection for gases, it may vary between 25 to 250 watt per meter per Kelvin, and for per meter square Kelvin, and for liquid it may vary from 550 to 20,000 watt meter square Kelvin. Similarly, in case of boiling or condensation, the range of the values of H will be between 2500 to 1 lakh. So these are the values generally associated with a different kind of convection phenomena. So how the natural convection takes place? Okay, that how the convection takes place when there is no external forces being applied. Okay, so let us say this is a hot surface, in the figure 1, this is a hot surface, and on this hot surface some some air is present. Okay, so what will happen, that hot surfaces will heat the surrounding air, so surrounding air will become warm after some time, after I mean after receiving the heat. Then these warm air will rise, this warm air will rise upward. Okay, so as soon as this air rises upward, some kind of vacuum will be created, some vacuum or low pressure will be created near the surface. So what will happen, due to the due to the vacuum pressure or low pressure, the air nearby nearby this plate, or you can say the cold air near to this plate will move inside. Okay, and in this way what and this air will be further heated, because uh, this surface is hot, and it will rise upward. Okay, so in this way a circulation will begin, and the heat transfer will take place. Okay, so let us say in the place of air, if let us say this is a liquid, so what will happen, that the liquid near this surface will rise, and the colder liquid liquid will go down and take the place of the uh, uh, this hot air. Okay, as soon as this new cold liquid will come in, it will be heated up, and it will move forward. So in the last figure, as we can see, in this kind of circulation will take place. You have seen when we generally heat up some liquid, this kind of movement takes place inside the liquid. Okay, so the next mode of heat transfer is radiation. Radiation heat transfer involves the transfer of heat by electromagnetic radiation that arises due to the temperature of the body. Radiation does not need matter. Okay, so radiation is a kind of heat transfer medium in which no medium is required. Okay, so energy generated from one surface or transmitted from one surface is transferred to another surface in the form of electromagnetic radiations. And this heat transfer, radiation heat transfer, is given by this formula, where E is the emissive power of this of the surface, sigma is the uh, Stephen Boltzmann constant, and the value of Stephen Boltzmann constant is 5.67 into 10 to the power minus 8, or tau s is the temperature, absolute temperature of the surface. Okay, so here we are talking about the about the amount of radiation that a surface produces when it is maintained at a temperature, let us say Ts. Okay, and epsilon is the emissivity of a surface, emissivity, which is a surface property. Okay, so for a black body, that we will be discussing when we will be discussing the radiation in detail. So for a black body, epsilon equal to 1. Okay, so any surface which is maintained at this temperature, or Ts, will emit this amount of electromagnetic radiation. So as we discussed, that radiation does not require any medium for the transfer of heat. Okay, so among three modes of heat transfer, radiation is the only one that does not require any kind of medium for the transfer of heat from one body to another body. As we have seen that conduction requires some medium, some matter, even though in conduction there is no movement of material takes place, but heat transfer takes place uh, because of the intermolecular interaction. While in the conduction, material transfer is required for the transfer of heat. Okay, but in radiation, no material transfer is required. Heat radiation doesn't require any medium for the transfer of heat. So how the heat is transferred, or energy is transferred from one medium to another medium? The radiation strikes to a surface. Okay, or like this, the radiation strikes to a surface, and some part of the radiation is reflected back. Okay, and I mean it is not absorbed by the system, but it is reflected, while some other part is absorbed inside the body, while some part transmits through the body and leaves the body. Okay, so one portion of the radiation is absorbed, while other portion is either reflected from the surface, or it is transmitted away, transmitted from the body. So in the end, as we have today learned, that there are three modes of heat transfer, or you can say that heat can be transferred by three modes, and these modes are conduction, convection, and radiation. Okay, in conduction, heat is transferred because of the molecular interaction, and conduction is the primary reason of heat transfer in the solid medium, while convection requires not only the molecular interaction but also the transfer of matter from one place to another place. Okay, so convection generally happens in the fluids, either liquid or gases, while radiation doesn't require any medium. It only the heat can be transferred from one body to another body without requiring any medium. But in real practice, there are many cases where the heat is transferred through the convection, through the conduction, and through the radiation. Okay, so for example, if you look at this figure here, you can see this is one container. In the container there is some liquid, and the liquid is heated with the help of a you can see here with the help of some surface which is producing some heat. Okay, so this surface, you can see that some fire is there. So the fire is actually producing radiation, and this radiation is being absorbed. You can see this radiation is being absorbed by as you can see by this container. Okay, and if this container is made of since made of solid, so what will happen, that the heat that is absorbed by the solid will travel to the other surface by conduction, and then the heat is transferred to this a liquid, with the liquid, and within the liquid the heat will be transferred through the convection. And again, since the this whole portion is being heated, so what will happen, after some time you will notice that this handle is also heated. So how this handle is also heated? Because of the conduction that is taking place within this container. Okay, so as you can see that heat is transferred with the heat when we study the heat transfer, then we have to we should have the required knowledge of convection, conduction, and radiation, because most of the phenomena in our nature involve all these three modes of heat conduction. Okay, so this was all about the introduction of heat transfer. So I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. So what we learned today, uh, first thing that we learned today is conduction is the transfer of thermal energy through direct contact. It happens generally in solid. I mean, this is the primary mode of heat transfer in the solids, mostly in the metals, and it is governed by the Fourier equation. And convection is the heat transfer of heat transfer through the movement of liquid or gas, or you can say fluids. And and convection heat transfer is governed by the Newton's law of cooling. Then radiation is the thermal is the transfer of energy or transfer of heat through the thermal emission, and it doesn't require any medium for the transfer of heat, and it is governed by the equation shown here. Thank you. These are some of the review questions, and try to find out the answers of these questions, and when asked, submit the answer of these questions. These are the references. You can go through these text through which this PPT was prepared. Uh, in the next class, we will discuss the first mode of heat conduction, which is the first mode of heat transfer, which is the conduction. Thank you.